Good Tuesday morning. I'm Jared Klein coming to you here from the live from the NBC29 Digital Desk on this Pi Day. Let's take a look at the top stories you guys are clicking on over on NBC29.com. Coming in at number one, the spring market coming to Gordonsville in April. A lot of excitement around this. We'll get to that story in just a moment. At number two, this retired teacher that won $5 million on a lottery scratch off. Make sure you head to NBC29.com to check out that story. And then at number three, Ralph Sampson hosting a bracket breakfast at a Charlottesville restaurant. All right, well, supply chain issues and inflation are not only impacting Albemarle County families, but Albemarle County projects as well. Projects in the Capital Improvements Program are costing $38 million more than expected, but the board is able to close that gap, we're told, by reallocating other funds. One supervisor says she is optimistic this budget cycle will not lead to a tax increase.
We'll see whether or not we're going to raise taxes, but we have a balanced budget without raising taxes, so the tax rate will more than likely remain the same. That's what we're looking forward to.
The next budget work session will be March 22nd and focus on traffic. Well, after the collapses of Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not people's money is safe, what type of path we're headed on. And NBC29's Kagan Hughes spoke with a financial expert to find out what you should know moving forward. Here's what he had to say.
For the average person, I would say I wouldn't worry particularly much. It's not as though these things can't happen here, but the average person typically doesn't have more than $250,000 at a single bank.
Alex Erpe is the CEO of Emergent Financial Services in Charlottesville.
I think the two things for the average person to think about are, A, make sure your bank is FDIC. And if it's not, consider whether you have a good reason to be there.
An FDIC bank helps keep your money protected if the bank collapses.
But if you're at a bank, a major bank that is FDIC insured, you're insured for up to $250,000 per person. Meaning if I have $250,000 and my brother has $250,000, each of us will always be we're insured even if the bank goes under for that amount of money.
Broaden your options, he says, and look at other banks to insure your funds.
If by chance you do have more than $250,000 of savings, open a second bank account at a different bank, because it's per bank.
Erpe says two banks collapsing in the same week is out of the ordinary compared to how banks operate in Central Virginia.
This was kind of a scenario where they really wanted to make a little extra money on their deposits and they got hit hard by rising interest rates. A lot of banks are probably playing it a little bit safer than that.
The financial advisor says this is not a telltale sign of a major hit to banks.
This is not a scenario like 2008 where mortgages really across the board were being basically foreclosed. And
in Charlottesville, Kagan Hughes, NBC29 News.
All right, thank you, Kagan, for that report. Well, there we go. Make sure I have my mic on. Spring will soon be in the air, and the annual spring market is making a return to Gordonsville next month. The event features food trucks, live music, and vendors from all over Virginia selling handmade goods. And Jillian Grant runs this event, and she says she's excited to help bring the Gordonsville community together.
We continue to evolve. Really what we want to do is showcase Gordonsville. We have an unbelievable group of storefront owners, restaurants. Everybody does something unique. It is not something you'd find anywhere else.
The market takes place on the weekend of April 1st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So mark your calendars for that. Well, UVA basketball legend Ralph Sampson hosted a bracket breakfast yesterday morning at his Barracks Road restaurant. Guests were able to meet and take pictures with the Hall of Famer and enjoy breakfast while filling out their March Madness brackets.
Probably one of the best sport events in the world, March Madness, because it's 3 weeks of basketball and excitement, and you will follow a team starting tomorrow.
So Sampson says his advice for those who do not keep up with basketball is to pick a bracket by color, favorite team, mascot, or coach. He says this tournament is so unpredictable, it's just best to go with your gut and not try to look at all the statistics with the players and the teams and the games from this past season. All right, well, that was not the only bracket event yesterday. More than 100 basketball experts and fans filled the pavilion to get inside tips at Jimmy Miller's bracket breakfast at Boar's Head to support Piedmont Casa. Now, there were 5 panelists, including UVA President Jim Ryan and author John Grisham. Jimmy Miller says aside from the fun, the event has 2 important focuses.
One, to bring awareness to Piedmont Casa and what they do and the important work that they do in the community. And 2, raise money, important money to support Piedmont Casa.
Panelist and former UVA women's basketball player Deborah Stroman she says that the Hoos have a good momentum going into the matchup against Ferrum. Again, that UVA game against Ferrum is happening Thursday at 12:40 p.m. The Hoos are actually headed down to Orlando, Florida for that game today. All right, we are expecting a windy day, but the sunshine does make a return here in Central Virginia and the Shenandoah Valley. Let's get the latest weather report from David Rogers.
Good morning, everyone. On this cold Tuesday morning, make sure you do bundle up as we go into these last few days of winter. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory for the Shenandoah Valley and the Blue Ridge Mountains. That goes into effect at 11 this morning until 8 o'clock Wednesday morning. The entire area will be dealing with some pretty gusty winds today. Sustained winds, 15 to 25 miles an hour, and certainly the potential there for some higher gusts. So keep that in mind, especially if you drive a high-profile vehicle. There's a live look at Doppler radar. All is quiet this morning. Again, we'll see a lot of sunshine, colder temperatures today. Heavy snows continue across the northeast. The low to the east and high pressure to the west will be responsible for those gusty winds today, but at least we'll string together a few dry days before the next system comes into play late Friday into early Saturday, bringing rain showers to the area. Won't be a total washout for Saturday. I think by the afternoon we should start to dry out. That's a quick look at your forecast for now. Have a great and safe day.
All right, thank you, David. And here's a look at your 7-day forecast. That high of 47 today with sunny skies. Warming up to tomorrow with a high of 57, and then it looks like we just get better from there with a beautiful St. Patrick's Day, a high of 65, and looking like a nice weekend ahead. All right, that'll do it for us here on the Morning Rush. We'll see you again on NBC29 News at noon. We're always live over on NBC29.com. I hope you have a great Tuesday morning, everybody.